For any exam-related queries, call us at +1 678 648 4277. You can mail us at support@economicsexamp.com or reach us at https://www.economicsexamhelp.com. 1. Decide whether each of the following statements is true, false, or uncertain, and give a brief but clear explanation of your answer. Most of the credit will be given for the explanation. A. If average cost is falling, marginal cost must be falling as well. B. Paint prices have risen in the past year, largely due to oil price increases. When defining the market for paint, oil companies should be included. 2. With Hurricane Rob approaching, the market conditions for plywood to protect homes are given by demand P equals 30, Ph.D. supply P equals 4 plus QS. Where Q is measured in tons and P is in thousands of dollars per ton. A. Graph the supply and demand for plywood. Find the equilibrium quantity and price. Calculate the consumer surplus. B. Newspapers often report that retailers are taking advantage of consumers by charging high prices during these times of crisis. Consider if the local government passed a consumer protection law that set P equals 5. How much would be supplied? How would consumer surplus compare to Part A? Problems. economicsexamhelp.com. 3. A local franchise has a monopoly on Krispy Kreme donuts with daily demand and cost given by demand P equals 150, 2Q cost, C equals 250 plus 30Q. Where Q is hundreds of donuts, P equals price per 100 donuts, and C is in dollars. A. To maximize profits, how many donuts will be sold daily? At what price? What will daily profits be? B. Concerned about rising healthcare costs of municipal employees, the local government raises Krispy Kreme's real estate taxes, causing its daily fixed costs to increase from $250 to $350. How much will its daily sales change? 4. Old McAdams had a farm. And on this farm, he grows some corn. To grow corn, he needs a tractor. A new tractor costs $100,000. There is a very active resale market for tractors. A tractor that is 1 year old sells for $70,000 and a tractor that is 2 years old sells for $45,000. For simplicity, assume that all tractors 3 or more years old cannot be used to grow corn and sell for $0. These prices are expected to stay the same in the future. The variable cost of producing corn is the same regardless of whether you are using a tractor that is new, 1 year old or 2 years old. economicsexamhelp.com. A. Old McAdams faces an interest rate of 10%. What is the user cost of capital associated with using a new tractor for 1 year? What is the user cost of capital associated with using a 1-year-old tractor for 1 year? What is the user cost of capital associated with using a 2-year-old tractor for 1 year? B. Old McAdams is formulating a plan for growing corn for the next 3 years. What is the optimal arrangement for the necessary tractor input over the 3 years? For instance, should he buy a new tractor and use it for 3 years, or something else? 5. Your company produces a specialized pump that sells at a price around $60. Your factory, A, can produce these pumps with the following cost structure. The first 5,000 units are produced at a constant, marginal, cost of $15 a unit, and the next 5,000 units are produced at a constant, marginal, cost of $45 a unit. Factory A has a fixed cost of C, specified below, and a sunk cost of $257,000 from initial factory setup. Demand is soaring, you expect to sell 8,000 units. Because of this, you develop a new outsourcing division, B, that arranges for production of the pumps in Korea, at a constant cost of $20 per unit, including transportation and other fees, with no fixed costs. A. Graph the marginal cost for Factory A. Graph the marginal cost for Division B. economicsexamhelp.com. B. If there were no fixed cost, C equals 0. In Factory A, how much should you produce in Factory A, and how much should you outsource to B? C. Does your answer change if A's fixed cost were C equals $20,000? How would your answer change if A's fixed cost were C equals $45,000? D. Consider the case above where C equals $45,000. You are worried about the international situation. In particular, depending on the outcome of the November elections, you feel there is a 0.5 probability that your outsource costs stay at $20 per unit, and that there is a 0.5 probability that your outsource costs double to $40 per unit for all units. You are risk neutral. Suppose you must decide whether to pay the $45,000 now to keep Factory A open. Should you make the investment? Show any calculations used to arrive at your answer. 6. Short answer. For many years, a large number of charter boats have operated out of Boston Harbor that take people out to fish. In this competitive market, the price of a full day's fishing is $150 per person. Boats hold up to 12 people and will operate on any given day as long as at least 6 people sign up. On average, over the entire season, 8 people a day go out on each boat. The cost of a trip is the same regardless of the number of people on board. economicsexamhelp.com. In light of the information provided above, what can be said, numerically, about the variable cost of operating a fishing boat trip in Boston Harbor? economicsexamhelp.com. Solutions 1A, false. If average cost is falling, marginal cost must be less than average cost, but marginal cost may be rising as average cost is falling. 1B, false. Oil companies represent neither demand nor supply substitutes for paint. That is, if paint companies increased the price, consumers could not substitute crude oil for the paint, and oil companies are unlikely to enter the paint market. economicsexamhelp.com. 2B, quantity supplied equals 1 ton. Consumer surplus falls compared to Part A. The maximum amount of consumer surplus occurs when those with the highest valued use for plywood are able to purchase it. See graph below. economicsexamhelp.com. Choose Q to maximize profit by taking the derivative of profit with respect to Q and setting it equal to 0, 150. For Q, 30 is equal to 0 U 150. For Q equals 30, marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Solve for question Q equals 30, or 3,000 donuts price is then read off the demand curve. P equals 150, 2 times 30 is equal to $90 per 100 donuts. Daily profits is equal to 90 times 30, 250 plus 30 by 30, equals 2,700, 1150 equals $1,550. 3B, with FC equals 350, the revenues are still greater than the economic cost of production, and KK will not shut down. In other words, profits fall by $100 to $1,450, but profits 0 implies that the firm will not shut down. Since marginal cost is unaffected by the increase in fixed costs, daily sales, and price per donut will be the same as in 3A. Common mistakes. Part A. 1. The equation given was in the form of P as a function of Q. You can use the shortcut of doubling the slope of the demand curve to get MR only if the equation is written in this form. If the equation is in the form of Q as a function of P, you need to rearrange the equation. economicsexamhelp.com.